Hey guys, so the last video I did that was completely unscripted, first one I've done in a very long time like that, it actually did well, which surprised me, at least by my standards. So the whole YouTube algorithm, I don't understand it at all. I don't know how a lot of times my very low effort videos do well, but I do like that my unscripted videos might actually do somewhat okay now, which is great because I can get out some videos a lot quicker and doesn't take near as long to do them. My scripted videos, a lot of times, because I choose a topic that's just very complex and I decide to go extreme with the research, like on that map video, for instance, I went a little crazy with the research on that one and the math and the spreadsheets and stuff. So, and then the end, the delivery kind of suffers because I spent so much time on the video. It's almost like I'm getting to the point where I just want to finish the stupid thing, and it's for 174 views, it's not worth it, the amount of hours I put into it. But that's part of growing a channel on YouTube for a game that's a long ways out, and the search volume has completely dried up. Luckily, my last video did kind of well, and I think it's because it's talking about a subject that is not one that people have talked about a whole lot with Ashes of Creation, but it's actually kind of a big feature that they don't have the stupid exclamation point above quest givers, and it's something nobody talks about, but it's kind of a big deal because almost every MMO does, even Arcade, the game that Ashes copies from. So I will try to keep doing these if they still continue to perform at least relatively well by my standards. I know there's probably some big creators looking at this and saying 264 views is nothing, but for me that's not too bad in a 24-hour period. My goal is 2 videos per week, but unfortunately I probably won't get to that, but that's the goal. I'm going to try to do 1 scripted video per week and 1 unscripted, and the scripted will of course take a lot longer and they'll be more researched and more in depth, but the unscripted I can just kind of freelance a little bit, but I am making notes and kind of looking at trying to be somewhat organized when I make these as well, and hopefully they're still informative and useful as well. My goal is 1,000 subs before A2, so in order to do that, I need to keep making videos. And to some extent, I think I suffer from sunk cost fallacy a little bit because I've put many hours into this channel already. I've only really been seriously making videos since like April, and even then the videos weren't too good at the start. Before that, it was just kind of a place where I dumped some A1 footage. It wasn't really like I had no intention to grow the channel, but around April I decided I'm gonna, nobody's making videos for Ashes anymore. Everybody quit. Like all the people that were making videos in A1 quit, so I thought there was a bit of an opportunity. I jumped in, and I got a little lucky with some big creators watching my videos, which is crazy. I'm probably the first YouTube channel that has had 2 major streamers watch one of his videos, and I'm still only at 515 subs. And it's because the video that they watched was one of my early ones back in April when I did not do a good job at all making videos. But the content was good in terms of like it was probably the most in-depth view of the Riot MMO that you could find. Probably still even to this day, like one video shows everything there is to know, all the tweets all compiled in one spot. Not taking anything away from the other guys that have made those videos. In fact, I've talked about Oh Hey Spun before. I think his videos are way better than mine, and the view count shows that. I think his video hit like 100K views, so, and mine, even with huge streamers watching it, is like still under 20. So anyways, bit of a ramble there. What I want to get into today is the importance of feedback, and Intrepid has already taken our feedback and made some changes. And I think it's crazy the amount of feedback that they collect and that they actually act on it. Because a lot of MMOs they've taken feedback and they haven't really ever done anything with it or not done the right thing with it. And Ashes has actually taken feedback. The big one that comes to mind for me is the combat change, the split body, root body combat change. And I think it was a good change, and I think by and large people like that change. And recently, the huge changes that came out in this last live stream. Off the top of my head, I really feel like the caravans might have been from player feedback. The change where they randomly spawn it in the ring around the caravansary, around the city. And we don't know if the players get to place that, but it's in a ring. Basically, it's placed. It could be random. It could be players choosing. And you teleport to it. I think part of that was because players had in the forums, people had made a lot of posts that the attackers, there's a lot of incentive for attackers to attack caravans. There's not as much incentive for caravan users to use caravans to transport materials. Now, I think the biggest incentive for caravans, sidetracking a bit again, but the biggest incentive for caravans is going to be that they carry 100 times more than what a player carries. So, and I know in Alpha 1, like to make things, it took a lot of materials. And so that is the biggest reason that you're going to be using caravans, is because you simply have to get enough materials to make the best gear in the game, to upgrade the node buildings. It's going to take massive amount of materials that you're simply not going to be able to just haul on your player. I don't care how many people you have running, they're going to make it to where you need caravans. It's like the biggest feature of this game. One of the bigger features that they try to sell is the caravans. They are going to make sure that you have to use them, or else you're being extremely inefficient if you're not using them. So I'm not too worried that caravans will not be used, but players had given a lot of feedback. And what's crazy about that is we haven't even seen the caravan system. Yes, in A1 there was like a caravan, but it wasn't really the caravan system. It was very placeholder. Players had given feedback that attackers have a huge incentive to attack, whereas players may not have as much incentive to use the caravan. And they've made an adjustment to where it's not as obvious where the caravan is going to be. And part of that, I think, comes from ArcAge, because the trade packs, people would see people loading trade packs and no. Yeah. and so it's great that they're adjusting from ArcAge, which ArcAge did a lot of things right, but there were so many things they did wrong. And I'm going to eventually do a video on Ashes versus ArcAge, and I think they've already improved many faults of ArcAge. Number one, no pay to win in Ashes. Number two, they've gotten rid of the stupid labor system. So right there, two major issues gone. Now there's quite a few other things that we don't know yet, like the PvE raid bosses. The PvE raid bosses in ArcAge were not very good. They kind of toned them down a lot because of the PvP element. And hopefully Ashes, what I want is I want the raid bosses to be very hard from a PvE perspective and not adjust for the chance of PvP. So basically, if you're fighting this boss and somebody comes and PvPs you, there's a pretty good chance you're going to wipe, because the boss itself is already hard as it is. That's what I would like to see. That'd be a huge adjustment from ArcAge, where most of the bosses were just very boring vanilla tank and spank fights. Next up, I want to talk about the poll that I did on the community tab recently. And it looks like Ashes versus mainstream MMOs is the video that I'm going to try to get out this Saturday. We'll see. It's going to be, I don't think it'll be too hard to do. I've already started doing some research, and here's kind of a little spreadsheet that I've done. And I threw in Guild Wars 2 and ArcAge, but I think I'm just going to make it Ashes versus WoW and all the clones. So Final Fantasy and there's so many MMOs that very closely copy the WoW formula. And you can see, like, if you compare these two, there's very few where it's the boxes are checked on both, right? This game is very different from WoW. Like, yes, it's still an MMO, but it's very different. And this, to me, is one thing that I've always kind of thought about is this going to be a problem? And where I say that is not because I want this game to be like WoW, because I absolutely don't. I'm burnt out of that model. But Steven has pushed this game heavily to like have big time WoW players, Asmongold, etc. And these guys, a lot of them have kind of a set idea of what an MMO is, and they think things from WoW should be maybe in this game. And I'm not saying they've said that or anything like that. I'm just saying that's a concern that they may try to push for certain WoW features that we really don't want in Ashes. So I've always kind of thought about that. The good thing is I think like Asmongold has played Black Desert, for instance. So he's played games where there is a lot of travel. I think the biggest thing for guys like Asmongold with Ashes is going to be getting used to that there's going to be a lot of travel. The travel matters, and the minimal fast travel. These are the two areas here that I think the WoW players are going to have trouble adjusting to. And so hopefully it doesn't backfire on Steven that he pushed it to Asmongold. If Asmongold gets in this game and decides, you know what, I don't like this game at all, and then he starts trashing the game. That could backfire big time. So hopefully that's not the case. Yeah, I think that's it. Video is over 11 minutes, so I'll probably edit some stuff out. One thing I wanted to add to the end of this video real quick, for this Arcade video, Ashes versus Arcade, in order to do this video justice, I'm going to play Arcade Unchained when the new Fresh Start server opens up. I think it's like September 15th or whatever that opens. So if anyone would like to play with me as we play through Arcade Unchained, join the Discord and we'll go through that. I played Arcade back in the day, and I never really have touched Arcade Unchained. Not too much anyway. I've dabbled, but I never went very far with it. So in order to do this video the most justice, I need to probably play through it. So join up if you want to play with me. So yeah, anyways, that's the unscripted video for this week. We'll try to get a scripted video out on Saturday, and then next Wednesday we'll try to do another unscripted one. So let me know what you guys think about this one. It's a lot longer. I don't know if the title is going to be as catchy as the last one. I refuse to do clickbait titles, so it's just what it is. We'll see you guys in the next one.